south to west, north to east. Searching the best pubs for the ultimate feast. Sonia, Simon, Portia, and don't leave out Sue. Searching out the best food, don't you wish you were too? Come on down. Take a taste of the West.
Hello and welcome to another Taste of the West, a competition between local pubs throughout the West Country. The idea is we challenge the chefs in those pubs to cook us up a wonderful meal using, where possible, good quality local produce. The meals are then given marks out of 100, and at the end of the series, the two top scoring pubs will battle it out for the title of Taste of the West in a grand finale. Now, the job of giving those marks, very difficult. That goes to, first of all, Simon Parks. He is a food journalist for Radio 4. He's also an ex-Michelin star inspector. We've got Sonia Stevenson. She too is a food writer. She's also a master chef. And lastly, Portia Spooner, ITV West Country's own home economist. Now, the pubs. Later on, we're going to be at the Springer Spaniel at Treburley in Cornwall. But first of all, the table is set, the fire is lit, which is most important on this cold day, and the food is on the go at the Tradesman's Arms, which is at Stokenham near Slapton. The chef is Tim, the landlord, Nick Abington Abbott. Nick, lovely to come into a pub like this on a day like this, because it's very cold outside. You've got a lovely log fire. Tell me a little bit about the pub itself.
Well, this end of the pub was built in about 1390, 1400, and next door is early Georgian. It's half thatched and typical of the building in this area.
Very picturesque. But the most amazing thing is I have never seen anything quite like your menu, because our judges are in for such a surprise. They're going to have what?
Squirrel.
Never heard that on the menu before.
Well, it's not a first for me, although it may be a first for both the judges and for this pub. I've only been here a short time, but I served squirrel many times at my previous pub.
For us, obviously, the emphasis is on local. Now, I know that the beer that's gone into the stock is local.
The beer comes from Plymouth. The vegetables are grown about 4 miles away, or virtually all of them. Certainly the supplier is there, and he grows most of them.
Now, listen, last thing, Tim's in the kitchen. I know he's been a little bit nervous. How do you think he's coping with us being here?
Well, I think he's done very well, actually. Yes, he was nervous for a week. But once he was in the kitchen and actually cooking the meal, I think he settled down admirably.
So, just as I've got this right, Tim, what are you cooking?
Braised squirrel in ale.
Tim, nice to meet you at last. I've been looking forward to this one. Things are looking calm at the moment in here, but I know it's going to get very hot in just a second. Very unusual dish on the menu here.
Rather.
Right, and tell me a little bit about it. Just point out the bits of the squirrel.
In area. The nature of squirrel, because it's so active, it can tend to be a bit tough. So we've poached it on the stove in advance, just to soften it up a bit.
In water?
And induce a bit of flavour, yeah. And then we've got a nice stock to go on with.
Right, and then you obviously coated it in flour and a bit of seasoning.
Seasoned flour, yeah.
What happens to this now?
Right, I'm going to brown it off.
What does it taste like?
It tastes, if you can imagine, a fusion between a nice lean piece of pork and some rabbit.
OK, just run me through what else you're going to do, and then I'm going to let you get on.
We're going to use the nice Devon potatoes. Going to grate them up, toss it with some shredded leek, and then cook it in a blinny pan to make a rosti. And then we'll start cooking the carrots with a bit of sugar and some butter and some water.
And the cabbage?
Cabbage has been blanched already, so that'll just be tossed in butter at the last minute.
Last minute?
When it comes to serve. And then we've got some nice deep-fried leeks just to go on the top for presentation.
Bit of garnish. Well, look, it sounds absolutely incredible, Tim. I can't wait to see the judges' faces. They are going to go nuts. Yes. I got that out of the way. Good luck, and I'll see you outside.
Thank you very much.
Now, of course, you can't go round catching just any old squirrel, as the red variety is protected. So, Wilton Farm in Southpool have supplied Tim's amazing organic vegetables, which they've been supplying now for 5 years, and it was all started and still owned by Paul Evans. OK, let's cook some squirrel, and once the joints have been seared, add the stock and ale, cover it all up and put it into the oven for about an hour. Next, go on to make the rosti, and that's a kind of potato hash. In it, you use grated raw potato mixed with some shredded leeks, and season it well using white pepper. The mixture then goes into a blini pan, which to you and me is a tiny frying pan. For the carrots, which have been beautifully turned, in other words, made into a nice shape. They're cooked in sugar, salt, water, and a knob of butter. And then they're covered. And while you're doing that, don't forget to turn the rosti.
I told you are going to have braised squirrel in ale. Oh, how wonderful. With a leek and potato rosti with buttered Savoy cabbage and turned carrots. But I have to go back to the squirrel. First of all, Portia, what do you make of that? You've gone a little bit watery-eyed, if you don't mind me saying.
I'm a bit surprised. I'm waiting for Jeremy Beadle to walk in and tell me
This isn't for real.
this isn't for real. It is for real.
Yes, yes.
Well, I shouldn't be prejudiced against squirrel because I love rabbit, so I think I've got an open mind about it, really.
Good, good.
Yeah, I'm a squirrel virgin.
Ooh.
I've become so focused on that, I forgot what we're having with it.
You're having a leek and potato rosti, turned carrots and buttered Savoy cabbage.
It's almost pedestrian, isn't it, in comparison to the squirrel? Yeah. Oh, I'll give it a go.
Good.
Why not?
Just by extraordinary coincidence, last week I was reading in a game book a recipe on squirrel, 2 recipes on squirrel. Fascinating. It was in a game book. So is squirrel game? I thought actually it was grey squirrel's rat.
Oh, Sonia, what a question. Well, I think we'll plump for game. It does sound nicer. Anyway, the squirrel pieces are placed on the top of the rosti, surrounded by the cabbage and, of course, the carrots. And the ale sauce is poured over the whole lot and finished with a nest of deep-fried leek.
You can smell the aroma, can't you? Yes, exactly. Thank
Enjoy
you
your
very
food.
much. You haven't met Tim. This is Tim. For the first time yesterday at the squirrel. No, we're going to eat it. We're really going to pass comment here, and we'll talk to you in a bit, Tim. Thank you very much. And Nick as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, doesn't that smell divine?
It's a veritable turret.
It is a turret. And I think you've got some roasted leeks on the top for a bit of garnish.
A little fake fur.
Plenty of meat on the leg, isn't there? Can we eat?
Yes. Gosh, yes. Do dig in. Go on, who's going to take the first one?
I will.
Oh, it's lovely.
I'm just trying to think what it reminds me of. It's not dissimilar to rabbit, you know. It's not a million miles away. It's sweet, isn't it? It's not gamey.
No.
It's a nice textured meat. It's quite moist.
It's certainly from the hopping family, isn't it?
It's quite surprising there's any fat in it at all, because you'd imagine they'd be quite fit creatures running up and down. Up and down
How's it
trees.
cooked, actually? That mostly because this falls off the bone. Suggests braised.
It was simmered.
It was.
Yeah, in stock, which included the beer.
Oh, I see,
And
yes.
then tossed in seasoned flour and seared in the pan, popped in the oven.
Nice cabbage. I love Savoy cabbage. You don't see it very often on menus. It's lovely. And these carrots are to die for. They're really, I wonder if they're organic. They're very, very sweet. You can usually taste the difference with a carrot.
I think there's something potato at the bottom, isn't there? Oh, it's here.
It's like a rosti.
You've had a good taste then, Simon. What do you think of it? First impressions, really?
Well, I don't. There's nothing to dislike, really. It's perfectly pleasant. I'm not sure what sort of an opportunity you'd get again to eat this. I can't see it gaining wide public acceptance because I think as a nation we're becoming more and more squeamish. I mean, I think if you ask kids about something quite straightforward like liver, they go, liver. And they won't eat offal. So if they won't eat offal, they won't eat squirrel, is my line of thinking.
You couldn't have something much more different than this, could you?
I must admit, I'm not someone that would automatically order a kind of novelty on a menu. But the chef, considering he hasn't cooked this very many times, I think he's done a brilliant job.
Well, this is going to set you a question now, isn't it? Portia, if I hand you your sheet, a pen as well.
Thank you.
Sonia. Thank you. Simon. Now,
Squirreling
I'm going to
around.
await with interest what you think of this.
So how much is it on the menu?
£10.95.
Right, okay.
Obviously, the squirrel's quite local, and then you've got your vegetables from Wilton Farm, 8 miles away,
Right.
and the ale in the stock, Plymouth Summerskills Brewery. So all very local.
Well, what are they going to do with this one? Oh, not a lot by the looks of it. Novelty value, of course, it would get top marks, but novelty isn't part of our marking criteria.
Right. Well, interesting. Get out the old calculator. Bit tricky to do it in the head. Right, well, I have the score, and I guess you'd all like to know what it is, wouldn't you? Very much so, and I know that Tim would too. So, Tim, if you're just around the corner, perhaps you'd like to rejoin us. Are you there? Do come and sit down. You've set the cat among the pigeons, for want of a better expression here, I tell you.
Squirrel among yes.
Yes.
A great experience, actually, that.
Let me just tell you what you've got. You got 66.333. But it was quite a poser, I think, for the judges, wasn't it? Sonia, you say.
Yes, because it just mucked up all the sort of the rules by which we marked everything. I mean, value for money and, you know, local produce.
How easy were they to prepare?
Very easy. I mean, the chap who got them for me, they come with no skin on, so all I had to do was cut them down into portions and cook them off, basically. But then, because of the nature of the beast of running around a lot, probably very muscular, very stringy, I had to cook it for quite a long time to get any sort of nice texture from it.
Well, I think you've certainly stretched the boundaries today. Thank you very much. Yes.
You're welcome.
Great. And you were nervous, but you needn't have been, because it was very nicely done. Thank you very much, Tim. Well, there we are. We've got to make our way to the Springer Spaniel next at Treburley in Cornwall, but the talking point in the cars will no doubt be the squirrel. Only programme 3. What's to come, I wonder? See you after the break.
Take a taste of the West.
You know the deal with the Volt by now. If you want to win £1 million, then call this number and register for your chance to play.
Can you afford not to call? It's 09012 933 933. Or go on, find out if you've got the knowledge to unlock the vault.
And you could be joining our new presenter, Gabby Logan.
You could be playing here in the studio, you could be a home broker, or you could be sitting watching the television when suddenly you get a call from me.
The Vault, tonight at 8, ITV1.
Today we rely on electricity at the flick of a switch.
But just occasionally, something goes wrong.
Graham Smith investigates the likelihood of a West Country energy crisis and examines alternative power sources. Special report, Friday at 8 on ITV1 West Country.
Come on down. Take a taste of the West.
Welcome back. Well, a change of scenery now, and definitely a change in the weather. We've come from Devon to Cornwall and to Treburley, a lovely pub called the Springer Spaniel. Now, busy in the kitchen, we've got Ben, the chef, and behind the bar, waiting to serve me up half a pint, is Craig Woolley. He's quite a one. Craig, every name tells a story. What's the one behind the Springer Spaniel?
Well, it was used to be owned by a gentleman called John Pitchford, and it used to be called the Sportsman's Arms. And he acquired a dog called Bertie, and of course then changed the name after his dog.
And you didn't inherit the dog, though, did you, when you took
No, I didn't inherit the dog, but I did actually inherit a Springer Spaniel called Bentley. Had a phone call here a couple of months ago to say could I tell them what type of establishment we are. And I said, well, you know, we serve food, drink, you know, fine wines. And with that, the lady said, oh, you're not a Springer Spaniel rescue home? To which I turned around and said no. And she went, well, it just so happens we do have a Springer Spaniel puppy we're looking for a good home, and guess who has him? It's me.
Oh, that's a nice story, though.
Bentley's a gorgeous dog.
Tell me about the food you serve now. How important do you think, you know, local produce is?
I think it's imperative, really. I think it's paramount, especially for any local pub. I mean, there's quite a few pubs that do seem to sort of buy it, so I like to keep it very, very local.
Now, I know you've got a few chefs that work for you, but tell me about the one today, Ben. Is he nervous?
Nervous, yeah. So I think he probably is. But, you know, he'll cope with that. He has come to me from the Scilly Isles, which he had a fantastic reputation over there, and I'm very proud to work with him. But today I'm looking forward to seeing sort of how things develop.
How's he going to do you think?
He will do his best, and as I say, the proof will be definitely in the eating.
Well, that's what they say. So, what are we eating?
Pan-fried pheasant in an apple cider sauce.
Right, Ben, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just sealing off the pheasant here, get it ready to go in the oven before I start the sauce.
Well, tell me where all the stuff comes from. First of all, the pheasant. It looks a lovely piece of pheasant.
Yeah, the pheasant is shot locally, and all of the veg and whatnot is all locally grown as well, because obviously these days people they much prefer locally grown produce as opposed to buying in or whatever, and they like to know where it's come from and stuff like that.
How long have you been cooking then?
About 6 years now, 5 or 6 years.
Right, you obviously enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I do. I love it. Yeah.
What made you become a chef?
Don't know really. I fell into it. Really, it was.
Everybody says that. I think every chef I've ever met says that.
Yeah, it wasn't planned. No, it was a bit too sort of. Lads didn't do fishing, do they? Really?
No, well, they do now, I think, don't they? It's
Well,
very
yeah.
creative, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I must admit, I enjoy it. Yeah, I do enjoy it.
You seem quite laid back about the whole thing. Have you been a bit nervous about it?
Well, yeah, I've been a little bit. I must admit. Yeah, I'd be lying if I said not. But you know, you've just got to get on with these things, haven't you?
Well, we've been assured by Craig the proof will be in the eating.
Yeah, apparently so.
Don't say that. Well, look, good luck. We look forward to eating it. It looks really good.
Thank you.
See you later.
Okay.
Well, there's an even more local connection to the pheasant, as it could well have been shot by an owner of the pub, David Mathewson. He's been shooting here at Trinestral Farm on the Roseland Peninsula for 4 years with the owner, Will Palmer. Can't think of anywhere more beautiful for the job. Well, let's get back into the kitchen, and with the pheasant breasts in the oven, Ben gets on with the sauce. He first of all softens some chopped onions, adds some apple, cider, and allows it to cook to release all those lovely flavours. Next, he makes the tartlets, and for that he uses mashed parsnip with butter, and that all goes into the pastry cases and are then kept warm. For the vegetables, he simply steams them, in this case in the biggest steamer I think I've ever seen. So, to finish off the sauce, and once it's reduced, add some luxurious double cream and reduce it some more, but very gently, so that it doesn't split or curdle. Right, judges, I expect you're wondering after your last meal what's in store for you. I will put your minds at rest. You are going to have pan-fried pheasant on a parsnip tart with apple and cider and cream sauce. How does that sound, Sonia?
Oh, it sounds absolutely delicious. Do you know, I've not had any pheasant this year. I can't believe it. And this is my favourite beer, so I'm in absolute clover here.
Excellent. Portia?
I'm very happy it's not battered hedgehog, to be quite honest with you. I love parsnips and I love fruit with game, so sounds great to me.
All right, and Simon?
Yeah, I mean, pheasant and parsnip sounds absolutely delicious, doesn't it? What was the sauce again?
Apple and cider.
Apple.
And cream.
Apple and cider and cream.
Nice.
Delicious, yeah.
I think it's going to go down very well indeed. Well, each dish gets 2 pheasant breasts, neatly carved and arranged on top of the tartlet. Then it's covered with the cider, apple and cream sauce. Finally, a pinch of chopped parsley is all that's necessary to set it off.
Here comes the food, ladies and gentlemen. Ben, come in. You haven't met our judges yet, but Sonia,
Hello, Ben.
Portia and Simon.
Oh, great.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Now, the idea is we have a good old eat up, and then we call you back. So right, you have to sort of depart, but we will call you back in due course. Now,
Yummy.
take a good look then.
Sonia?
Yes, please. And another.
Shall I put this on while you're waiting?
Yes, please. Pouring in Paul's clothes.
Got some carrots. Is that okay
Lovely,
there?
that's fine, yeah.
Now look, you chaps, I don't want to hold you back, so if you want to start eating.
Oh, this pastry underneath is as light as anything.
Tons, isn't it? Nice big healthy.
It's well good.
That's well good, is it?
I haven't got to the meat yet, but the tart is lovely.
Lovely parsnips. Yes, and I like the pastry.
Oh, yeah. What a flavour.
I've never ever had a parsnip tart before. It's lovely.
Will you have another?
I will. Meaty pheasants, these, aren't they?
Any thoughts about the actual meal?
Well, yes, the pheasant isn't gamey, and I think these are mature birds. It's not the very, very young ones, but I don't think they've been hung very long or anything. You know.
Is that a
They're
good
just
thing or
lovely.
a bad thing?
Well, for me, I think I like it.
And what about that nice little tart that Simon was raving about?
Well, I think this is just still a pleasure in store. I haven't even broken into it yet. I love the filling, absolutely love the filling, but I'm sure the pastry will be delicious.
OK, we'll let you eat the tart, and I'll ask Portia what she makes of it.
You're going to torture me and make me stop eating now.
Yes.
It's delicious. I mean, for me, that parsnip tart's almost a meal in itself. It's just delicious. If I was at home on my own, I would be quite happy with that for my supper. Potatoes are lovely. It's delicious.
Everything is fine. There's a couple of minor gripes that I've got. He's completely overcooked the broccoli for me. It's too soggy and it's lost its colour. And I think there's a lot of things chopped up in the sauce, a lot of apple, but also some onion, and he hasn't quite cooked the onion through as much as I would like. You still get that
Tangy.
tangy, sort of oniony taste, which is a little bit too dominant. But they're minor gripes. Otherwise, it's lovely. It's very heartwarming on a day like today.
How's your meat cooked? I've had one bit that's tender as anything and then one bit that's a little bit drier.
It's not the most tenderest meat, and I must say now, towards the end of the dish, things are getting a bit dry around here because the sauce is all gone. Hint, hint.
Did it all come together for you, Sonia? You know, bearing in mind we've just had the squirrel, which caused you a bit of concern overall. This one?
Yes, it's fascinating. Mind you, it's a classic recipe, this pheasant and cider. I'd be rather fun to try squirrel and cider. I think it would go very well with this sort of sauce.
Do you reckon? What about you, Simon?
I thought, yes, I mean, not really any jarring notes, just a couple of things that I mentioned earlier, but otherwise I just thought it was essence of simplicity, but very well done.
Let's go for the judging then, shall we? We've all finished. Portia, if I pass you yours and a piece of paper and a pen. Simon,
thank you.
One for you. If I can take, I think you're going to be pleased with the price for this one. We're talking $7.95 for that meal, and you know you want for no more, do you?
£3 cheaper than the squirrel.
And look at what you've got on the table.
I know.
Okay, off you go then.
And don't forget, value for money is 25% of the mark, so this one could do quite well there. In fact, they talk quite a bit around that meal. Simple, nice and heartwarming, just some of the comments, but will that all add up to a winner, I wonder?
Wow.
Well, the markings, not bad at all.
Right, here we go then. All important. Papers, please. Thank you. Oh. It's all very secretive today, isn't it? You weren't allowed to go ahead, you see? Just go, right, OK, here we go then.
Cook those.
Right, I've got a score, and it's quite a good one. Despite the fact you guys are marking slightly harsher this series, it's a very good score, actually. So if we can just call Ben in to join us. Ben, would you like to come in and take a seat? Well done.
Well done,
I won't give you a
Ben.
round of applause, but well done.
Thank you.
If I can just tell you, Ben, the proof of the pudding was in the eating, and it is certainly. You got 81. Which is excellent, out of 100.
Thanks a lot.
So good marks, and a few comments from our judges. None of them detrimental at all, but Simon?
We loved it, but we wanted more sauce.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't do that, Simon. Not just ask the chef to produce something out of the saucepan. It's made with the dish.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky.
No, but it was lovely. It was delicious.
Yeah, well done.
We loved I love the meat, and I love those little potatoes. Where'd you get those from?
We get them locally, actually. They're local. Getting from Tamar, I think it's Tamar or something like that. Yeah, but yeah, it's all locally.
Presumably they're grown in a bucket at this time of year.
They're a bit rare this time of year, but still.
Ben, well done. 81 out of 100 is a very good score. Thank you very much indeed. And everybody at the Springer Spaniel here at Treburley, they've done very well indeed. And of course we had the squirrel at the Tradesman's Arms in Stokenham. Very different meals, guys, weren't they?
I think that's a bit of an understatement, Sue.
OK, so that's the first 3 programmes gone. Let's see what else is to come. Join us next week. Bye-bye.
South to west, north to east.
Well, sadly, today's 2 lovely meals have failed to grab one of the top 2 places to get into the final. The leaders are still the Golden Lion and the Royal Oak. And if you'd like a free copy of the fact sheet that goes with the programme, write to Taste of the West, P.O. Box 4000, Plymouth, PL7 5YU.
Take a taste of the West.